Hello and welcome to yet another YouTube video here on this channel. Today we are taking a look at setapp, which is basically Netflix for all of your productivity subscriptions on Mac and soon to be iOS as well. They have early access coming quite soon, it seems like, but let's just start off with taking a look at the pricing. So only for one Mac, it costs $9.99 each month, but for Mac plus iOS, so Mac plus the iPhone, it costs $12.49 each month, which isn't actually too bad. The annual plan comes in at $8.99 or 11.24 each month, depending on whether you want it just for Mac or Mac and iOS. Now let's take a look at all of the apps that they offer, because they have a bunch of apps in the productivity category. Things like Craft might have been an app you have looked at and known. And there are quite a lot of apps in here. So my favorites is probably CleanShot, which is for taking screenshots on your Mac. Ulysses is really good as well. Mind Notes is something I have tried, and we have a lot more inside of here as well. So many of these I haven't heard of or tried out. So there is a bunch of apps here that you probably won't use, but it's just like a Netflix subscription. You do not actually watch everything, but you have the possibility to try them out. Noteplan is another good one, which I have done a review on. Craft, as I mentioned, is another great application. Busycal is a really cool one. I haven't actually tried this app out, but I've heard a lot of great things about it. I actually use Amy as my calendar, at least right now. Then we have there is just a bunch of apps here. Most of these I will probably never try out, but I've mentioned some of them that I have tried out. Structured is also a good daily planner app. So these are all of the apps you get inside of the subscription. You also get Spark Mail, just to have mentioned that. And they have different categories. So you have work-related apps, you have create apps, which they call it, and you have develop apps. So there are quite a few apps here to choose from. And for the pricing, this is actually quite good. So if you wanted to have Ulysses, Craft, and note plan, you would probably end up paying a lot more. On the other hand, you would probably not have three writing apps. So you wouldn't have, for example, in my case, I would probably not have had Ulysses with Craft. I would have gone for one of them. But if I would say that if you're looking at three or four of these apps, it is probably worth it. If it is any less, I would say that it isn't. I personally am not going to get a set app simply because I do not use too many apps on my MacBook. I only do use it to write and plan out my days, which I use a separate calendar for. Mm, So the plan starts at 9.99 plus tax actually. So there will be a little bit more depending on where you live. It gives you access to all of the apps. The apps will update, and you will get the updates as well. Instead of having a bunch of different subscriptions to productivity apps, which I know a lot of us do have, you get one place to have all of your subscriptions. So it is a cool idea, but you will probably need to at least use two or three different apps for this to be worth it. If you're only using one or two of the apps, I think you would get away with just paying the subscription on those apps and not investing in setapp. But if you use three, four, maybe five, and a lot of people will do that, at least after what I've seen, people use things like CleanShot, Ulysses, with things like Noteplan, and even some people like to use Craft as well, task paper, so plain text task management. This would probably be good with something like Obsidian. Um, I would at least think so. You have Pomodoro timers. This is actually a great app. I have played a little bit around with it. So maybe actually it is worth investing in this, but it is only worth investing in this if you are actually going to use all of the different apps they offer, or at least some of them. So let's just go over the pricing one more time. It is $9.99 plus tax, or $12.49 monthly, $11.24 monthly, or $8.99 monthly. As usual, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them down below and I will try to get to them as soon as I can. Thank you so much for watching today's video.